So you're thinking about moving to Newton, Massachusetts. There are actually 13 villages in Newton that make up the city, and it's a little bit difficult to wrap your arms around it if you're doing a home search. So I thought today we'd dive into two of my favorite villages, Chestnut Hill and West Newton. Newton is such a popular area. A lot of times people will contact me and say they're looking at Newton, Wellesley. Those two towns are next to each other and go hand in hand. So I thought it'd be great to break it down by village to help you get your arms around it. And stick around to the end when I'll share some celebrities that were born and raised in Newton. So let's dive in. I'm Jane. I'm a realtor based in Wellesley, Massachusetts, and each week I release a video sharing fun and useful information about different towns in Greater Boston and the Metro West area, and also share some information about the housing market and what you can expect here. So please subscribe to stay updated. And if you are thinking about moving here, please feel free to reach out, as I would love to help you. So let's jump in. The first village we're going to talk about is Chestnut Hill. Now, of all the villages in Newton, all of which are pretty pricey in the scheme of things, Chestnut Hill is what we would call the bougiest. And again, this is a little bit confusing, but Chestnut Hill is an area that describes part of Newton, a little bit of Boston, and also a little bit of Brookline. It's an exclusive neighborhood, lots of big, gorgeous, older homes from the 18th and 1900s, and beautiful residential neighborhoods with some larger lots. And it is indeed up on a hill, so some neighborhoods give you a nice skyline view of the city. One of the great things about being in Chestnut Hill is the proximity to top-of-the-line shopping. There's an area called The Street, which is a very new development, and the shops at Chestnut Hill, which are along Route 9. Now, Route 9 is a 4-lane highway that runs from downtown Boston all the way out to Worcester. And this particular area has some beautiful restaurants and any shop that you can think of. There's a Lululemon, there's a Warby Parker, there's a Sweet Green Salad, there's an Equinox gym, which was cool because we used to see Giselle Bundchen working out there before they moved away. And there's a couple terrific restaurants and a luxury movie theater. So there's a Davio's, which is a beautiful Northern Italian steakhouse, just gorgeous, great place to pop in before or after going to the movies. And also there's a nice legal seafood and any kind of dining that you can think of. You're going to find it all right here on the street or at the shops of Chestnut Hill. Now, Newton has outstanding public schools. They also have a number of outstanding private schools from kindergarten through high school. But we generally focus on the public schools on this channel, as most of our buyers are usually interested in finding out about the public schools first, or that's driving your search. So there are two public high schools, Newton North, which is north of Route 9, and Newton South, which is south of Route 9. Newton North was one of the most expensive high schools ever built in the country. It cost in excess of $200 million. Yes, that's right, $200 million. It's an absolutely gorgeous facility. It has beautiful grounds, it has nice fields, and it has an outstanding reputation. It gets an A+ on niche.com. This would be the public high school that kids from the Chestnut Hill and West Newton areas would attend. Another great feature of Chestnut Hill is that there's some beautiful green space. There is the Chestnut Hill Reservoir, which has a nice walking trail, which is about 1.5 miles, and also check out Houghton's Garden. So we're going to jump into the real estate at the end and share a couple listings in West Newton and Chestnut Hill. So now we're going to jump in and take a look at West Newton. So West Newton is very different from Chestnut Hill in that it has an old-timey New England village feel with like brick banks and a little shopping area. And again, there's actually a great little knitting shop, and there's a really cool cinema that has been family owned since 1978, and you can rent it out for your kid's birthday party on a Saturday afternoon. It's an art house, but you can also see top run movies. But this is the opposite extreme of the luxury comfy tilty chairs at the Chestnut Hill movie theater. And it also has some great restaurants, a great little Irish pub and a barbecue place in the center of West Newton. And West Newton also has some very pricey real estate. So I'll share some listings at the end. So all of Newton enjoys very highly rated public schools, and there's obviously 2 high schools that support the 13 villages. So again, West Newton would also attend Newton North. There's also a number of nice parks and walking trails, great for walking the kids or the dog. So let's take a look at some real estate. The first house we're going to talk about is 13 Murray Terrace, which is in West Newton. So I wanted to start with this shot to give you the sense of that it is indeed a city. You're in a densely populated area, but this is a quintessential Newton house. It is a 3-bed, 2.5-bath house, which was on for just under $1.2 million and sold for just over $1.3. But classic 1910 village colonial style home. So this is very typical of Newton. But again, you're close to the street. You got wires in front. You have this pretty porch and some really nice detail. Now for 1.3, you're going to get a house that's moderately updated, probably move-in condition, but not necessarily a big yard or a garage, but this has some real charm and character. And the kitchen has nice stainless appliances. It has a movable island. It might be time for a coat of paint to update those oak cabinets, which are probably from the 70s. But with just some cosmetic updates, this little house could really shine. And so you have nice, again, detail in the dining room with this built-in, the nice glass. I wouldn't be surprised if obviously this had multiple offers because it went over asking and it went quickly in the last couple of months of 2023. So 3 good-sized bedrooms. That's a radiator. I talked to you about this before. In the turn of the century, the houses were heated by these cast iron radiators. So this one has a decorative cover and even a piece of granite on the top. So it's nice and cozy to stick your shoes under there or sit up against it and read a book in the winter. But you see a lot of houses without central air in Newton for under $1.5 million, and this house does not have central air. It does have an updated bath with nice tile, but again, a little bit of a classic 1910 Victorian colonial. So we're going to go, that house was in West Newton and sold in August of 2023. And now we're going to move on to a couple homes in Chestnut Hill. I love this house in Chestnut Hill. We've just popped over to realtor.com. So you do see a lot of brick colonials in Chestnut Hill and different parts of Newton. This is 104 Manet Road, which sold for $2.2 million. So really elegant decor, nice detail on the outside of the house, nice big wood-burning fireplace. This house is really pretty. Lots of built-ins. I love these old original doors. You'll see, this is typical. You get a welcoming foyer, get to see some nice millwork from the turn of the century and beautiful beam ceilings. This is another really good classic Newton house that you'd find between 2 and 2.5. So here you're getting more of an updated, more higher end appliances. This is a nice big, actually I'm familiar with that brand, Thor. It's not as good as Viking. There's very nice built-ins, this old pantry style and shelving that is probably original that they've kept. And pantries are back, actually. Buyers are appreciating their space now. Nice big dining room with a medallion around the light on the ceiling. And it looks like there's central air in this house. One of the ways that you can add central air to an older home is to use this Unico system. You can see these small vents or ductwork that you can retrofit an older home with smaller wall cavities. This, you're having a separate heating and air conditioning system, which actually is efficient because cold air drops and hot air rises. So it's nice to have your AC coming out of your ceiling. Pretty typical bedrooms, pretty tall ceilings, typical of the age. And here we are up on the 3rd floor. They've got the slope of the house prominent in your 3rd floor bedrooms. And here's a nicely finished basement. But look at this nice staircase taking you down to the playroom. Now we're going to talk about 50 Beacon Street in Chestnut Hill. And this house is cool for a number of reasons. It sold for just under $3.9 million in June of 2023. It was built in 1930. It's a very large home, over 6,000 square feet. But what's really cool about it is it's right on the Chestnut Hill Reservoir. So this is also going to be right near Boston College. So what that comes with, some very busy Saturdays during football season, and you might see some students roaming around at night, but it's still a very elegant address. And you can see you have this spectacular view of the reservoir and onto downtown Boston. Beacon Street is the same as Route 30. Route 30 runs right through Newton into Boston proper. It's the route of the Boston Marathon. As I said, it goes right by Boston College. So it's a busier, more traveled road, but still an elegant address. And I love the turn of the century details and character of this old light fixture. And I love this big, elegant foyer and this nice French doors that give you a view of the reservoir. So this is a really cool Newton house. So you definitely see all different styles of homes. I happen to have chosen 3 that were older today to take a peek at. There is new construction and there are some contemporary style homes. But when I think of Newton, this is what I think of. A classic brick manse with elegant finishes, tall ceilings, and definitely an older home. But this, of course, has been beautifully updated. There's a gorgeous kitchen with painted cabinetry. I love these transom windows that are over these mullioned windows. It just gives it that old New England vibe. And again, large wolf range and a luxury level kitchen, which one would expect for almost $3.9 million. And I love that you would get a view of the reservoir from this bedroom. And here's an enclosed porch, which could be like a 3-season. Actually, there's even heat, so we'll even call it a 4-season porch. One of the older baths. Lower level is also finished. And once again, here's a view just to give you some sense of the proximity to the reservoir. So this is a pretty cool house. So there's some information about 2 of my favorite villages, West Newton and Chestnut Hill. So if you're thinking about living in one of the villages of Newton, please reach out as I'd love to help. And if I got you a little confused about Chestnut Hill, drop me a line and I can clarify what that means between Boston Brookline and Newton proper. Remember to subscribe to stay updated. Oh, and here's my fun fact. Both B.J. Novak and John Krasinski went to Newton South High School, the stars from The Office. So thanks for watching.